Being nice won't change a narcissist, but this will. Being nice was your survival strategy. Power is your liberation. You are not here to save someone who doesn't want to change. You are here to rise. Again and again and again, stop worshiping potential. Start respecting reality. You've heard it before. They're just going through something. If they could just see the real me, they'd change. We've all been there, believing that by offering endless patience, showing boundless compassion, and being nice, we can unlock the potential of someone who doesn't deserve that kind of energy. But let me ask you, how much longer will you waste your life waiting for a change that will never come? The truth is, you're not in control of their transformation. You're only in control of your own. And when you allow yourself to keep chasing after a person's potential, you're giving them power over your future. Imagine this for a second. What if the potential you've been chasing isn't who they are, but a reflection of your hopes and your own desperation for connection? You're giving yourself the fantasy of who they might be, but they're showing you who they truly are. Reality is staring you in the face, but you're looking at the hazy version of them that's been carefully crafted to make you believe there's hope. Being nice won't change the narcissist because they don't see the world the way you do. Your empathy isn't their fuel to change, it's their way of controlling you. Every time you excuse their behavior, every time you look past their cruelty, you reinforce their belief that they can continue treating you however they want. Why? Because they know you'll forgive. They know you'll try harder. They know they can manipulate your love into compliance. The truth is simple. Their potential doesn't matter anymore. It's time to face the cold, hard reality of who they are. They are exactly who they show you, not who you hope they'll become. And here's the harshest truth of all. You've allowed this to go on because you've been in love with the idea of them. You've been in love with what could be rather than what is. The more you hold on to that hope, the more they have the power to drain you. The more you hold on to that belief, the more you give them permission to use your goodness against you. The kindness, the patience, the love, it's not transforming them. It's transforming you into someone who forgets their own worth. You must stop looking for proof of their potential. You don't need another promise that things will get better because you know deep down they never will. The potential isn't the problem. It's the manipulation, the self-serving behaviors, the disregard for your needs. The question is, why have you allowed yourself to be convinced otherwise? And I get it. It's hard to accept because deep down you still believe that everyone has the capacity to change. But you must realize something. Not everyone wants to change. And the ones who don't want to change, they'll use every ounce of your kindness to keep you trapped in their cycle. It's not about their potential, it's about their pattern. Let this be the turning point for you. The moment when you finally stop living in the land of maybe and step into the land of what is. From now on, you will no longer waste your time hoping for something that doesn't exist. You'll stop worshiping the version of them you wish they would be and start respecting the reality of who they truly are. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. This is the only way to break free from their grasp and take back your power. And when you stop worshiping their potential, that's when you begin to worship yourself. That's when you reclaim your energy. That's when you decide, once and for all, that your time, your heart, your soul, your love, none of it will be wasted on someone who won't change. Your love is for those who can appreciate it, not for those who take it for granted. It's time to turn your attention away from who they could be and focus on who you are becoming. You are the only person you can truly control. So make sure you're not giving away that power to someone who doesn't deserve it. Stop investing in false hope. Start investing in the reality of who they are, and the reality of who you are. Take back the script, right? The narrative. Here's the secret you've been missing. You've been living someone else's script. You've been following their narrative, believing that your life was meant to fit within their story. But here's the breakthrough. You have the power to take the pen back. The moment you realize you're not the supporting character in their drama, that's when everything shifts. Your story is your own, and no narcissist gets to dictate your next chapter. The narcissist wants control over your life. They want you to believe that their version of events is the only one that matters. They want you to doubt your own experiences, your own truth. They want to rewrite history to fit their narrative, to make you the villain, to make you question your every decision. But when you begin to write your own narrative, when you reclaim your truth and your voice, that's when their power over you dies. You've spent so much time explaining yourself, defending yourself, justifying your actions, but guess what? You don't owe them explanations. They don't need to understand your decisions because they'll twist them regardless. What you need to do is stop explaining and start deciding. Decide that your truth is no longer up for negotiation. Decide that your boundaries are sacred, your voice is powerful, and your identity is non-negotiable. The narrative you've been living is based on their needs, their desires, and their rules. The truth is, you've been putting yourself second, always adapting to their demands. But guess what? That's over. The script you've been following, rip it up. The story you've been told, that's not the story you're meant to live. You are not here to be a footnote in someone else's ego trip. You are the author of your life, and from this moment forward, you write your own ending. It's time to take ownership of your story, to make decisions that honor your needs, your dreams, your goals. If they're not aligned with your truth, then they don't deserve a place in your story. If their actions don't fit within your narrative, then let them go. Let them exit the stage, because the story you're writing doesn't have a role for them anymore. And here's the beauty of it. When you stop allowing them to control the narrative, when you refuse to accept their version of who you are, something incredible happens. You become the hero of your own life. Your confidence skyrockets, your strength grows, and your sense of self-worth becomes unshakable. You no longer need their validation. You no longer need their approval. You no longer need their version of events to define your reality. The only truth that matters is your truth. And when you begin to live that truth unapologetically, something miraculous occurs. You will attract those who celebrate the person you are, not try to rewrite you into someone you're not. And here's the most powerful part. When you rewrite the script of your life, when you take back control of your narrative, you rob them of their power. They no longer have the ability to twist your words, manipulate your actions, or gaslight you into submission. You've become the author of your own life, and no one can take that away from you. So right now, today, take the pen, rewrite your story, and step into the future where you are the one who defines who you are, not them. Silence is your sword. Use it without guilt. You've been taught that confrontation is necessary. You've been told that silence is weakness. But what if I told you that silence, when used right, is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal? Every time you try to explain yourself to a narcissist, every time you give them the words they crave, you're feeding into their need for control. They thrive on your reaction. They live for your emotional responses. But silence is devastating to a narcissist. The narcissist expects you to beg for their approval, to grovel for their affection. But when you choose silence, you deny them that. And here's the kicker. They can't handle it. Silence cuts through their manipulation like a sword through paper. It leaves them helpless, grasping for control they no longer have. Your silence becomes their nightmare. Why? Because it's not passive, it's deliberate. You are choosing not to engage, not to explain, and not to justify yourself. You're choosing peace over their chaos, and the most important part of this, you don't owe them an explanation. Silence isn't about being passive or weak. It's about reclaiming your peace and your emotional strength. It's about refusing to play in their toxic game anymore. Every word you speak to a narcissist is like throwing fuel on a fire. Every argument, every explanation, every attempt at reasoning is just another chance for them to twist your words and play the victim. But silence says, I'm done. I won't feed your need for drama. I won't allow myself to be drawn into your manipulations. I won't explain myself anymore. It's not about them understanding you. It's about you taking control over what happens next in your life. And here's the truth. They need you to respond. They need you to get upset, to chase after them, to try to make them understand. When you stop doing that, you take away their ability to control you. They will scream, they will shout, they will try to provoke a reaction, but you don't engage. The more you resist the urge to react, the more you reclaim your emotional independence. The more you stop trying to change their mind, the more you stand in your own truth. Silence becomes the ultimate declaration of your power. You are no longer their emotional puppet. You are no longer the person they can manipulate. You are free, set a boundary, and actually enforce it. Boundaries. We talk about them, we think about them, we pretend to set them. But the truth is most people, especially those who have been caught in a narcissist's web, struggle with the most basic principle of all, enforcing those boundaries. You can set all the boundaries in the world, but if you don't hold them firm, if you don't back them up with action, then they're nothing but words floating in the air. Narcissists know this. They know you won't enforce the boundary because they've trained you to be a giver, a pleaser, someone who's willing to sacrifice their peace for the sake of keeping the peace. But here's the kicker. Peace at the cost of your soul is no peace at all. It's just a temporary illusion that keeps you in the cage of their control. The moment you start enforcing your boundaries, without guilt, without hesitation, without second guessing yourself, you will feel a sense of liberation you never thought possible. But let's face it, enforcing boundaries is scary, it feels uncomfortable. You fear rejection, backlash, anger. The narcissist might even threaten, manipulate, or guilt-trip you into backing down, but you must stand firm. Every time you enforce your boundary, you're teaching them something invaluable. You are not a doormat. You are not here to be used, abused, and then discarded when they're finished with you. Boundaries aren't about punishment. They are about protection. They are the line between you and chaos. The line that says, I will not accept disrespect. The line that says, I will not be manipulated. The line that says, I deserve peace, respect, and dignity. And the moment you start enforcing that line, especially with a narcissist, they will have no choice but to adjust, or they will lose access to you completely. So let's break this down. You've been afraid to enforce your boundaries because you think you're being too harsh, too demanding. You've been worried that they will think you're being unfair or that they will accuse you of being too sensitive. Let me tell you something. That's the game they play. They twist everything you do into something negative, something wrong, something they can use against you. But when you stand strong, when you hold your boundaries firm, that's when they realize they can no longer manipulate you. They realize that your life doesn't revolve around their whims, and that is the wake-up call they need. You need to stop apologizing for your boundaries. Stop feeling guilty for taking care of your own mental health. Stop feeling like you owe anyone an explanation for wanting to be treated with respect. You don't owe anyone anything except for the person who stares back at you in the mirror. Every time you enforce your boundary, you're reinforcing the message that you are worthy of peace, that your emotions are valid, and that you will not let anyone walk over you. And here's the beautiful thing. Boundaries breed respect. The moment you set a firm boundary and enforce it without wavering, the narcissist will start to feel something they've never felt from you before: fear. Not fear of physical harm, but fear of losing control over you. Fear of realizing that you are no longer an easy target. Fear of seeing that you are no longer the person they can walk all over. That's the power of boundaries. They strip away the narcissist's ability to manipulate you. The truth is, boundaries are not just about protecting yourself. They are about empowering you to take back your life, to take back your energy, to take back your sense of self-worth. The more you practice enforcing boundaries, the stronger you will become. The more you stand firm, the less power they have over your emotions. So stop bending, stop breaking. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to enforce your boundaries without guilt, without fear, without apology. This is how you take your power back. Reclaim your identity. Detach from their opinion for far too long. The narcissist has been the sole authority on your self-worth. They've told you who you are, who you should be, and what you should feel. Every insult, every belittling comment, every undermining remark. They've used these as tools to distort your sense of self. You've been gaslit into thinking that you don't know who you are, that you need their approval to be validated. But here's the harsh truth. Their opinion is worthless. Let me repeat that. Their opinion is worthless. It doesn't define you, it doesn't shape you, and it sure as hell doesn't determine your value. Their opinion is a reflection of them, not of you. It's based on their need to control, their need to diminish you, to make you feel small so they can feel big. But you don't have to accept that anymore. You are not a reflection of their perception. You are a reflection of your truth. You are someone who has spent way too long trying to fit into a mold that wasn't meant for you. You've tried to be what they wanted, tried to appease them, tried to be the person they demanded you to be, but every time you did, you lost a piece of yourself. Every compromise you made chipped away at your identity, at your soul, at the person you were meant to be. It's time to take all that back. Reclaim your sense of self. Stop looking to them for validation, because their validation will always be conditional. It will always come with strings attached. You will never be enough for someone who refuses to see your worth. So stop trying, stop bending your identity to fit into their distorted perception of who you are. You are whole, you are worthy, you are deserving of respect, love, and honor. You define who you are. And the moment you stop caring about their opinion, the moment you detach from their judgment, you step into your true power. This doesn't mean you have to abandon love or empathy. What it means is that you stop defining yourself based on someone who doesn't value you. You stop living to meet their impossible standards. You stop letting their criticisms, their judgments, their constant attacks on your character affect how you see yourself. Instead, you define yourself. You define your worth, your value, your beauty, your strengths. Their opinion is nothing more than a reflection of their insecurity. It's not about you. It's about their need to control, to diminish, and to feed their ego. When you stop giving their opinions power, you begin to see them for who they truly are. Broken, desperate, and controlling. And when you see them for who they really are, you stop believing in the lies they've been feeding you. You are your own authority. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You are enough as you are. And when you fully embrace this, when you stop allowing their judgment to shape your identity, you will feel an inner freedom like never before. You will be untouchable. So let go of their opinion. Let it fall away like dead weight. You have no obligation to carry it any longer. Step into the truth of who you are and own it. You are powerful. You are enough, and nothing will change that. Become the storm they feared. You'd never be. Narcissists thrive in chaos. They love to create it. They love to stir the pot, to push you to the edge, to watch you react. They love to control the emotional weather around them because it gives them power. But what happens when you stop reacting? What happens when you refuse to be the emotional storm they try to provoke? You become the storm they feared you'd never be. This is when you stop chasing their approval, stop seeking their validation, and stop trying to fix their brokenness. Instead, you stand firm, unshaken by their attempts to destabilize you. You become the force of nature that refuses to be moved, the rock in the middle of their storm. They've spent so long trying to make you feel weak, unworthy, or incapable of standing on your own 2 feet. But guess what? The moment you rise, the moment you stop giving them the power to dictate your emotions, the moment you step into your own strength, you become their worst nightmare. You become the storm they never expected. No longer will you sit silently in the background, hoping things will change. No longer will you shrink back into the shadows of their manipulation. You will rise. You will be the force of change. You will be the person they feared you'd never become, the person they could never control, the person who stands tall no matter how much they try to tear you down. You are a storm that will not be contained. You are a power that cannot be diminished. You are unstoppable. And when you finally recognize the strength within you, when you finally understand the power you hold, you will realize that no narcissist ever had the ability to break you. They only had the ability to distract you from your true strength. And now, you step into that strength. You become the storm. You take back the power that's always been yours, and you use it to propel yourself forward, to claim your life, and to leave behind the chaos they tried to create. Take the control back. Make them fear your non-compliance. Do you want to know one of the most powerful things you can do when dealing with a narcissist? Stop playing their game. Narcissists live for control. They live for the ability to dominate, manipulate, and twist situations to suit their needs. They thrive on your compliance, your submission to their whims, and your desperation to keep the peace. They expect you to roll over and comply with whatever they demand. They expect you to bend to their will and apologize when they've done nothing wrong. But here's the twist. You don't have to play that game. You don't have to dance to their toxic tune anymore. You have the ultimate power, the power of non-compliance. This is a power so immense it shakes them to the core. The moment you stop complying with their demands, stop falling into their traps, stop allowing them to control your actions, you begin to take your power back. And that, my friend, is when they start to fear you. Why? Because a narcissist has one main goal in life, to stay in control. And when they can't control you anymore, they lose their grip, they lose their power, and they realize they can't use their usual tricks to get what they want. Think about it. How much control have they had over you up until now? Every time you said yes when you didn't want to. Every time you ignored your own needs to cater to theirs. Every time you allowed their behavior to slide by without consequence. You've been reinforcing their control. But here's what you need to understand. Compliance gives them power, non-compliance strips it away. It's time to start playing by your own rules. The moment you stop agreeing to their demands, the moment you stop seeking their approval, the moment you stop trying to fix their brokenness, you make it clear that you are no longer a pawn in their game. You're not a piece of furniture for them to rearrange at will. You're a force of nature, a person who will not be manipulated into submission. And when you stand your ground, they will fear you. They will fear your strength, your conviction, and your ability to say no. They will fear that you no longer care about their opinion, about their manipulation, or about their control. And here's where it gets even more intense. They will try to provoke you. Narcissists are desperate to maintain control, and the moment they sense they're losing it, they'll escalate their tactics. They'll criticize, belittle, accuse, and attack. They'll push every button they know, throw every insult, and try to pull you back into their web of chaos. But what happens when you refuse to bite? What happens when you stay calm, stay centered, and refuse to let their words move you? They are powerless. You see, the more you resist their attempts to draw you back into their drama, the more they realize they are not the center of your universe anymore. The more you remain firm in your stance, the more they start to feel threatened. And here's the kicker. The narcissist thrives on the energy you give them. When you stop feeding that energy, when you stop reacting, when you stop complying, they lose the very thing that fuels their existence, your emotional response. And here's the shocking truth. Non-compliance isn't about being rude or aggressive. It's about asserting your boundaries with calm, unwavering certainty. It's about standing up for yourself without needing to explain, without needing to defend, without needing to apologize for simply existing as you are. It's about saying, I don't accept this behavior, and walking away. It's about saying, this ends now, and cutting off the source of their manipulation. When you no longer fear their rejection or their anger, when you no longer fear the consequences of standing up for yourself, you become invincible. You stop being afraid of their disapproval, their accusations, and their false victimhood. You stop caring about the consequences of not complying, and in doing so, You put them in a position they cannot handle. Think about this for a moment. What happens when a narcissist can no longer control your reactions? What happens when they realize they can no longer push you into emotional chaos? They feel exposed. They feel vulnerable. They feel helpless. And that's when the fear starts to creep in, fear of losing their grip on you. Fear of not being able to manipulate you anymore. When you stop being afraid of their rage, when you stop tiptoeing around their fragile ego, that's when you truly take back control. You take control of your emotional state, your actions, and your life. No longer will you be the one who has to apologize for being yourself. No longer will you be the one bending over backward to keep the peace. You will stand strong in your own identity, and in doing so, you will make them fear your independence. And here's the most powerful thing about all of this. They will eventually realize that they cannot break you. They will realize that their manipulations, their emotional traps, their gaslighting, their guilt trips, they no longer work. And when that realization hits them, it's like watching the wind get knocked out of their sails. They lose the one thing they had over you, their ability to manipulate and control your emotions. You will be free. Remember, you don't need to beg for their respect, their understanding, or their approval. You don't need to plead for their love, their affection, or their validation. You are not a beggar. You are a person who deserves respect, love, and kindness, on your own terms, by your own standards. The moment you stop begging and start standing firm, that's when you become the force they cannot control. And when you finally get to this point, when you take the control back and make them fear your non-compliance, that's when the tables turn. That's when you walk away with your head held high, knowing that you are in control of your life. You are in control of your future, and you are in control of your emotional peace. Take control, take your life back. Here's the truth. You have the power. You always have. All this time you've been held back, controlled, manipulated, and convinced that you had no choice but to comply, to appease, to give in. But the moment you realize this simple, undeniable truth, that you are in control, you shift the entire dynamic. You stop letting the narcissist dictate your emotions, your actions, and your life. Let's be clear, being nice to a narcissist will never change them. The kindness you offer, the compromises you make, the sacrifices you endure, it means nothing to them. They will only take, and leave you empty. But taking your power back, drawing that line in the sand, saying no to manipulation, setting your boundaries, reclaiming your identity, and finally refusing to comply with their toxic games, that is when the magic happens. This is your moment to break free, to stop being afraid of their rejection, to stop shrinking yourself to fit their narrative. You deserve more. You deserve peace, respect, love, and freedom. And those things don't come from compliance. They come from strength. They come from knowing you are enough as you are. They come from the courage to stand up, to walk away, and to never look back. The narcissist's fear of you will grow as you rise. The more you reclaim your power, the more they will see that they can no longer control you. They will be shaken by your strength. They will fear your non-compliance, and they will be forced to watch as you rebuild your life, stronger, more powerful, and more resilient than ever before. So, stop apologizing for taking care of yourself. Stop apologizing for setting boundaries. Stop apologizing for saying no. This is your life, and from this moment forward, you will take control of it. You will no longer be the person they manipulate. You will be the person they fear, so let them fear you, let them watch as you rise, and as they tremble in the wake of your strength, you will stand tall, unshaken, and fully in control of your own destiny. This is your time. Take back your power, take back your peace, take back your life, and when you do, you'll never look back.